Hey, this is a Hakawati production. My guest today is the founder and CEO of one of the top PR firms in the Middle East. With clients like Versace, Messica, Valentino, Charlotte Tilbury, and Jaeger LeCoultre, Z7 Communications has established itself as a go-to agency for luxury brands. But what's happening with all those luxury brands? Are they somewhat less relevant now that we're facing a global economic downturn and people are fearing for their jobs and even their lives in the face of the pandemic? Do we still care as much about $5,000 watches or $1,000 cashmere sweaters from MrPorter.com, which, by the way, is one of Z7's clients? And what about influencers? Is it business as usual? Joining us from Z7's swanky new digs in the Dubai Design District to help us figure out what's happening in the business of selling luxury, please welcome Zeina El Dana. Hey Zeina, thanks for being with us.
Hey Nadia, thank you so much for inviting me to your podcast. I'm very, very happy to be with you today.
Cool, awesome. So why Z7, by the way? Obviously the Z, Zeina. What about the 7?
Yes, exactly. So Z, Zeina, and 7 corresponds to 2007, which is the year where I launched Z7. And also as a number is a very holistic number. So it's kind of one of my favorite numbers. So it's kind of worked out very well in both ways.
Yeah, I love 7 too. 7's the best.
Yeah.
It seems like it brought you luck too.
Yes, exactly. And we just celebrated our 13-year anniversary in September, so just last month. So it's amazing how it's like 13 years already. It's just time flies.
Wow, incredible. So I wanted to ask you this because I've been having this conversation with some of my friends. Are influencers dead? I mean, what I mean by that is, do they still have the same power that they once had, over the last few years?
Right. So I don't think they're dead. And I think they're far away from that. I think the industry in general has had to have some adjustments, especially with how things have been evolving over the past few months with COVID, and how we are all seeking genuine and authentic content in general. So yes, I'm sure the influencer marketing industry has been affected with the crisis that we're living at the moment, but we do see that this is an industry that's gonna grow again, and maybe with different direction, but it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. There are many ways of engaging with influencers, and what I've noticed personally over the past few months is that influencers who depend on their own story and who have genuine content that they're sharing, they have been way more relevant than other influencers who have just been posting content that was offered or provided to them. Obviously, in general, it's a more kind of challenging to find content when you can't do much or when you can't go out of the house. So I think some influencers manage to find their message and kind of they've attracted different kind of followers, I think, over the past period of time.
What portion of your PR strategy would you say is working with influencers? You have all these big luxury brands. Is it a big part of your strategy?
Well, it varies from client to client, but I would say at least 40%.
Wow.
And yes, it depends. Yeah, and it depends on the brand. And we always work with influencers that kind of resonate to the image and the DNA of the brand. So obviously each brand has different target markets, and we work with different influencers. For us, influencers also could be just influentials, like key opinion leaders as well. So we like to have a nice mix of different people with different personalities and different kind of reach and circles.
What did you call them? What kind of openers?
Key opinion leaders, KOLs.
Oh, I don't know what that means.
So I would say key opinion leaders are people from different industries, leaders in their own fields, who basically are influentials in their own know-how and the field that they work in. So they could be designers, they could be, restaurateur, it could be chefs, they could be interior designers, different people. And they could be just people who are very artistic, and they provide through their social media, they provide information and educational tools for their followers and their friends.
All right. So let's set the record straight, though, before we go any further. What is the actual role of a PR firm from your perspective?
Okay, so we're here to tell a story. This is our main role. We are here to tell the story of a brand. We are here to tell you why a brand is what it is, what is special about it, why you would like it, and what it can bring to you. This is kind of the general role of a PR agency. At the same time, we're connectors. So we connect our brands to their target audience. We connect our brands to the culture, to be more relevant to this part of the world through telling their story, obviously. So telling the story is the main component of what we do. So as well as creating content, it's very important. With everything we do, is all about the content we create to tell the story. So this, in a nutshell, is what really PR is about. Obviously, from a client perspective, they want to definitely achieve two things. One is creating awareness about the brand and what they do and what they stand for, but also they want to achieve sales. So through all the activities that we organize for them, from our 360-degree approach to PR and event and content creation and everything we do, we would be able to achieve their goals of raising their awareness about the brand, as well as achieving sales.
So would an agency like Z7 be involved at all with the corporate strategy when it comes to marketing and communications, or do they already have it defined and then they reach out to you?
It depends on the brand, but mostly corporate strategy. From our perspective, it involves, let's say, the involvement or the awareness that we would create about a CEO of the company, or from a corporate side of things. But in terms of corporate and lifestyle PR, which is what we do, is a bit different in terms of approach. And usually they do tend to have corporate covered internally, and they come to us. If it's a brand, a luxury brand, a fashion, or beauty and lifestyle, they would come to us to take care of the lifestyle PR of things.
So would you, for example, so if an international brand comes to you, would you advise them on advertising in the region and all that, or is that also like a separate agency?
No, that's something we've always done for our clients, even though we don't do advertising ourselves. Even now, like, we are getting requests for advertising, and we do it on a case-by-case basis, but we're not an advertising agency. However, we've always advised our clients on where they should be and what are the best mediums for them to advertise in, and platforms.
These brands, are they still investing? This is a question that comes after I've just interviewed the editor-in-chief of GQ magazine. Are the brands still investing in print a lot? Because you say 40% influencers. How would the rest of their budgets like split up?
I would say, in general, budgets have changed a lot this year. They've been cut, especially the past, since the COVID crisis hit us all. So I would say, in general, they do have a very kind of a balanced kind of approach to where they advertise, whether it's online or print, or through social media and other mediums that they use, like outdoor advertising and things like that. So I from what I've seen, there's definitely still budget for print. It's just they're focusing on the most important titles that are the most relevant to them, that gives them the most exposure, and titles that can offer them print, online, and digital exposure. And as well, of course, when things are normal and we can host events again as well, titles that can host as well events with them, and bring them different new potential kind of clients or connections and things like that.
Definitely want to talk about events in a second, but how do you tailor an international brand for the Middle Eastern market? Are there any like specific rules that you always start with, or is it really a case-by-case basis?
Rules in what sense? Can you clarify it a bit?
Are there certain things that you immediately want to do differently for this market than maybe they're doing in other parts of the world? Like, for example, someone told me recently, it was someone who worked with Shiseido, and they were talking about how different the market is here than in Asia, for example, because in Asia, bronzing powder is definitely not a thing, whereas in the Middle East, everyone wants to be tan. So that's one thing. It's like in the makeup industry, this is like a given. So I'm just wondering if in these luxury brands that you represent, which are, a lot of them are like watch brands, jewelry brands, are there certain things that are specific to the Middle East market?
In general, I think the most important thing is the relevance to this market. So in the past, brands would come here and they would bring their international, products and just have them adapted to this market in a general way, or maybe from that time to time they would create capsule collections and things like that, but not really. They were not as engaged as they should be maybe from the past, because this market, especially Dubai, is a very international market, and you have lots of tourists. You have the local consumer. Now more than ever, there's a shift in focusing on the local consumer. And this has been happening over the past 4 or 5 years, and increasingly so over the past 2 or 3 years, whereby brands are looking to create this connection with the local consumer and maybe create collaborations with, let's say, local designers or local talent to create a capsule collection or create an artwork or to do an event jointly, and promoting the culture locally as well as their brand together. And that's something that has been, more and more increasingly, I see more and more many examples that are really well thought of and more concerned to be connected to this part of the world.
Can you give us an example of one of the brands you work with that's done this?
Yes, from the top of my head, I'll give you just generally, let's say, a brand collaborated with a center for children with special needs, and they basically asked them to create drawings for their shoe boxes. So there's a center here that does that have a group of kids, and they look after them, and they have an artistic skills. So they've asked them to actually make drawing for these boxes, and the boxes were used for the shoe collection, and the proceeds of the shoe sales went back to this organization to support them. And it was such a beautiful collaboration. This is one example. Another example would be a brand collaborating with, like a home brand collaborating with like a jewelry designer and calligrapher, and asked her to, let's say, create special writing for some of their pieces, and they sold it in collaboration with that designer in their stores. So there are many examples like that. More simpler ones are just creating some collection that's really relevant to this part of the world, to the taste of the local consumer. And they would create this collection exclusively in certain colors and certain material just for the local consumer. And they would host like dinners with the designers and just, host and get closer to the local consumer by meeting them and getting to know their taste better and doing something special for them.
Yeah. I've noticed that brands are doing that a lot, collaborating with local artists and organizations. But let me ask you this. People are worried right now about losing their jobs, or they've already lost them. People are worried that the world is in, serious trouble. They're worried about catching COVID. And I think that with all of these things, there's like a global shift in sensibility and of things that people feel really matter in terms of their values and stuff. So have you noticed that? And have you noticed a change from the brands on how they're marketing their products? And does this affect also how you're doing business and approaching the campaigns that you work on?
Right. So what I've noticed during COVID is brands who usually would, especially brands we work with, that because I'm working closer with them, and we discuss the strategy much more detail together. But some of the brands we were working with, they were very careful in how to communicate during COVID. Let's say if it's a brand like sending emails, okay, this is our new collection, we suggest these items to you. They really kind of went away from the commercial approach and focused more on the well-being. And I'm sure you've seen this everywhere, and in few brands. Actually, some brands were silent, they didn't do anything. And some brands were really kind of taken the role of what can we do to entertain you at home? What can we do to add to your culture? What can we do to show you or educate you on how to take care of your skin or your well-being? What can we do to help you with mental health and issues like that? And I think this approach was created a kind of a new bond with the consumer and a new connection that basically went deeper a level from what I've seen. Now I think the situation, we are in a better situation in general in terms of retail, in terms of purchasing, especially in this part of the world. We could see movement, we see things picking up, and we see people definitely shopping, but maybe more with a conscious mind, thinking do I really need this piece or not? And maybe thinking maybe twice before purchasing something. But we see movement, and especially here in the GCC, we see movement in terms of purchase power, and we see that our brands are doing well, and things are picking up nicely overall. Though I understand, yes, in other part of the world is different situations, but my expertise and what I see is what's happening here, and what I've been noticing is there has been definitely a pickup since summertime.
It's interesting that you say that, because there is this kind of trope from the West that people in the Middle East have, more spending power, and they spend more on luxury things than, maybe the average European or the average, American or Canadian, for sure. So it seems, based on what you're saying, that there's some truth to that. So, but have you noticed any, like, a reduction? I mean, obviously there's been a reduction in the amount of luxury that people are buying, and you said it's coming back up. Is it back to pre-COVID levels yet, or is it still kind of not the same as it was before?
I think what we've seen is, depending on the brand, some brands have beauty, and some brands have a mix of fashion, beauty, and accessories, and different product categories. And we've seen definitely a pickup in skincare, hair care, anything to take care of ourselves in general. That has seen a lot of pickup. We've also seen pickup with home interiors. Many people focus on their homes and made adjustments, even in small little accessories or pieces that they've added to their space, because they felt the importance of having a beautiful kind of serene space, especially when they spend so much time at homes. Is it really back to normal? I don't have all the numbers to share with you, but I know that things are picking up. How much and which level it's reached, I think it's irrelevant to the brand and what they're offering, and how the product that they're offering is resonating with the consumer, also from a price point as well.
Yeah.
So, but I know some brands, I've heard they've done, their last month, it was even better than last year. Also, I don't know. There's a mix, and it really depends on the brand and what they're offering.
Yeah.
But I've heard mixed feedback, to be honest. So.
Yeah, but that makes sense. Skincare and self-care and home products. So how big is Z7 now? How many people do you have on the team?
We're around 30, a team of 30.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's really good for a PR firm, if you think about it. I don't know if you're one of the bigger ones. I would imagine you are. Are you?
In the lifestyle, we're among the leading in luxury lifestyle and hospitality PR.
So you founded it in 2007. You'd worked in the business before. What do you think that it is that you've done that has made it a successful project and brought you to where you are today?
So if I were to look at now, what is it that makes us different, or what is it that we do differently to kind of position us the way we are? I would give a lot of credit to the team. And I would always say the biggest challenge for me since I founded Z7 was finding the right talent. And the biggest success that I have right now in terms of success factors is having the wonderful team that we have currently at Z7. So it's very important to have a very kind of multi-talented team with different nationality, different cultures, and making sure, everyone brings different skills to the team. The team spirit is very important. So definitely that has been a very important factor in the success of the agency. Other than that, I think we've been very transparent in the way we do business. We're constantly evolving and changing. We've always promised and delivered, and this has been something that we've been very adamant to. So as a PR, even sometimes, PR has different connotations. For us, it has been very much where we only do what we feel comfortable and what we can really deliver and excel at with our clients. And that has been, it helped us stay where we are and have the reputation that we have in the market.
Yeah. So So no bullshit, basically, is what you're telling me. Because I'm sure a lot of PR people will tell
Yeah.
their new clients like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do this and that," and then they never come through. So I think that's really a PR thing because I feel like I've seen that happen. So it sounds like that's not the right way to go to approach it. But I know you have a beautiful new space also. Congratulations, along with this
Thank you.
anniversary. What a nice way to celebrate. It looks beautiful. How important is office space, do you think, for the performance and overall energy of a team?
Right. So now I can speak from experience. So when you ask someone working at Z7, it's like, why are you working at Z7? Do you enjoy working there? And they tell you, yes, we love working here. And the team spirit is super important. They love working together. They love being part of the same team. And they just generally really have a great connection. And the vibe and the atmosphere is very, very empowering and very positive. So that's who we are in a nutshell. So during COVID, where it was very easy for us to work from home, obviously we have all the systems in place. Many clients of ours are based out of Dubai. So we're used to kind of having meetings with them over Zoom or even phone calls or conference calls. Maybe more conference calls, less Zoom, and now become definitely more Zoom. So we were very agile in terms of working from home, and the team was super efficient to work from home and very fast to kind of convert to that. However, what I felt is like when the team is working from home and not meeting together, we do lose something. And it's very difficult to maintain this kind of culture with having the team working each from their houses and not being together. So since things started opening up here and with all the measures that we have, the safety measures that we have and social distancing and everything that has been implemented by the government here, with the offices allowed to open and all of that, so we basically are back to work from the office. However, we've always had flexibility. So even from before COVID, we've always offered flexibility to team members. We've always had a day or two per month where they can work from home. So we were testing this since last year, and we want to offer this kind of flexibility, and we're very empowering as well and supportive of women and mothers, and so we've always had a very flexible culture and approach to how we deal with team and with our team and teamwork. And now more than so we offer that flexibility still to the team. Like during summertime, the team had the option of working from home or working from the office, so up to the discretion. And we decided collectively together that from September we'd be back to the office and taking the all safety measures possible. And we're doing, let's say, a flexible 4 days a week, and 1 day they can work from home, so if they wish to. So we're still keeping that flexible element there. And obviously with COVID, you have to be super flexible if anyone is exposed to someone with COVID or anything like that. So with the flexibility is 100% there. But it's much...
Any cases in your office?
We've had cases in the past, yes.
Oh, wow.
But they were not in the office.
Yeah. Okay.
They were not in the office. We had a case when actually we were moving offices, but during that week, no one was working from the office as well. So that was fine. And then we had a case a couple of months ago where only a few people were at the office and everybody got tested after that, and they were negative. So yeah, we follow the protocols as we should, basically.
Very good. Well, but you talk about how it's so much nicer to work in the office together when you're working with a team rather than to do it virtually on Zoom. I mean, we've really come a long way, I think, with Zoom as a planet, like the way people are using it. But it's definitely not the same. And this must be very true as well for you. It must be really challenging for people in PR right now to not be able to do all these real events. I mean, is there any way that like a Zoom event or virtual event can compete with a fabulous dinner with decorations and everyone's glammed out? I mean, how do you do without those? And what if you can never have them again? Isn't this like really bad for PR?
I think definitely it competes in terms of, do we have the same feeling and touch and smells and the details and all of that? Definitely it's not the same. But considering the situation, we're all trying to be innovative in the way we do things. So yes, we've done launches of beauty products, of jewelry collections, of watch collections via kind of Zoom or digital, let's say, digital presentations. And I think we're witnessing now the evolution of these kind of opportunities, whereby we can be more and more creative in the way we do a digital event, and that's an area where so much creativity is happening. And I think it's an area that's going to be I don't know, it's a very interesting area where creativity will really showcase all the new technologies that we have, the virtual reality that we can utilize. And I think it's another level of events that we're going to see over the coming months. We just need to see budgets increasing with that, because for these kind of events to happen on this level of creativity and investment in technology, I think it would require bigger budgets than just having, a Zoom presentation with someone or a designer presenting a collection. So it's a very different ball game. For that to happen, I think brands would need to realize definitely that for now, let's say we're going to forget about events for the coming year. And then I think they'll be more ready to invest. But we are receiving requests for events, and the changes in that, for example, would be, and we actually did host an event 2 weeks ago. Usually we would host an event for, let's say, a number of hours and invite everyone together. But this time we did smaller sessions of 6 people with social distancing, with masks, with all the safety measures. And it was really amazing because it was a beautiful experience by itself. And that was a great success, for example. But the format is different. And instead of having it over 1 day, you spread it over 3 days. So there are ways of doing events, but in a very different way. It's going to be much more smaller scale. I think maybe smaller budget, because then also you won't be able to have the same impact of one big event and one big boom. But the format of the events can be altered to accommodate all the restrictions that we have. And eventually things will evolve, and we'll see how that goes. But at the same time, we should also explore opportunities in the digital world of events. And that's something I think that's going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned VR, like the possibilities really are endless, I guess, if you're willing to go down that tech road. But what are the key measures of a successful communication strategy or campaign? How do you guys set your targets?
So definitely in terms of quality, it's how we as an agency kind of set our standards. So it's not about how many people attend an event and it's really the quality of the people that we invite and what they can bring to the table. It's the coverage, which, from a traditional point of view, is still very important, whether it's print or online. That's another way of seeing how, the presence of that launch or the brand on that occasion in the print and online world. In terms of social media as well, the buzz that you create and the reach that you can see through everyone that you invite, from influencers to press to guests. Press are become themselves influencers in their own way, in a very natural way, because of the type of people who follows them as well, and their kind of circles. So I would say these are the ways. And from a client perspective, if they were doing a launch for a specific product, they do see the impact in their sales as well.
Yeah. So what are some of the key things you have to do consistently to be successful as a PR firm?
I think change and evolution. You just have to always question yourself. And this has been our way from way before. Whenever we're doing things, you just can't be comfortable in that moment. You do things and you question, how can we do these things better? How can we do things better? It's about listening to feedback and getting feedback from clients, from the people around us, and seeing how we can do things better or differently, not necessarily better. And just making sure that you're always relevant. It's the digital world, everything through COVID, everything has been literally fast forward with e-commerce and everything else. And the same thing with PR. If you're just doing, let's say, still focus on traditional PR or just coverage online and print, and you're not doing collaboration, strategic alliances, events, content creation, digital marketing, I mean, the future is there. You can't just stand still. You need to keep evolving.
I asked you what the secret to your success was. I think that's the answer right there. And I think that's the answer for any industry that anyone's in. You just have to constantly be questioning yourself and seeing how you can do things better or differently. So, Zeina, not everyone can outsource a PR service. Let's be honest. I'm sure you don't come cheap at Z7 Communications. Your excellent services don't come cheap. And some startups and small businesses just simply cannot afford to hire a service like yours. So can you suggest a few things that startups or small businesses can do to build up their brand on their own?
So basically for startups, I would say I would suggest they would focus on the basics. And the basics is making sure that they have a clear brand identity, having a clear mission and vision, and really who their target market is. This is, I'm sure this is the basic thing that every brand will have to work on independently of PR anyway. Then from a PR perspective, they need to start as well with looking at their, on their Instagram, on their LinkedIn accounts, communicate their corporate news on LinkedIn. And I think it's very important because I've been receiving lots of requests from friends of mine who've been in business for 10 years, but they've been so busy and they've always been doing things. And they would come to me and it's like, what would you suggest that we do? And I tell them, you're a B2B business. So just focus on making sure that you're communicating your achievements and what you're doing for your clients. And just many people just sometimes, they forget about these things because they're busy with other things. But I think basics, they should be very well covered. Making sure the website is extremely clear and the communication is clear. And these are the basics of at least having a clear brand identity. In terms of PR, here it depends on really what the brand is about. Let's say if we're talking about a brand that's launching, let's say a new accessories brand like bags or shoes or jewelry, let's say, and they don't have the budget to engage with the PR agency yet, I think they can start with their connections and with reaching out to the people they know and asking them to support on social media for the people who they feel that can support them and can create awareness about them, and maybe start engaging themselves with press because it's quite a small market here. The publications, at least to start with the top 10 publications, start building that relationship. And then eventually when things pick up, they can always go for an agency and choose an agency that can help them grow and grow together. We do take on clients who are startups, and if we believe in the product, we believe the brand and the founder, we would support and we would grow together as well. So yes, sometimes some agencies will not be able to do things for certain rates, but at the same time there's flexibility, and if we really believe in the brand, I think there's always a way of working together.
Well, it sounds like Z7 is a fun place to work and a great firm to work with as a business. So I think those are all the things that have contributed to you coming this far. And I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, Nadia. Thank you so much. And thank you for your trust and for this opportunity. It's been great to share some of the know-how and, the past experience, especially with the past months that have shown to be extremely interesting, I think, on a personal, on the business level. And I really hope everyone who's going through this tough times, that everyone is able to reflect and take this time to really understand things better, or maybe clarify certain things for themselves, and trust that everything is happening for a reason, and then things will get better and we will overcome this. And I know it's easier said than done, but I believe having a positive kind of outlook and seeing that, there's a reason why this is happening, and instead of saying, oh my God, this is terrible, I would say, it's okay, let's have a look and see what we can do the best we can during this period. And, hard work, positive thinking, and just keep going, and we'll get there.
It's so true, though. This reset has been such a great opportunity on the positive side of taking a pause and thinking about how we can do everything better moving forward. So thank you for reminding us of that.
Absolutely. And thank you so much again.
Well, thank you. That's it, my friends. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to click that subscribe button, and I can't wait to see you again soon. Bye.